Mathematics, Ordinary Level, Paper 2, 2023, Part 6. And this will also be the final part in this question paper. Let's start with question number 15. A survey about holiday preferences was conducted among 120 staff members. The findings are presented in a table below. Gender, female, male. The coast, 2438. Neighboring countries, visiting neighboring, that means countries next to you like Angola, South Africa, then it's 2021. And then home, just in Namibia, 12.5. But very important, if they add up this, they get 56. And if they add up this, they get 64. Very important. So before you start with the question, always first understand the table. And where do we find this? We will find this in Part 2 textbook, Probability, and that will be on page 6 to 7, and that is actually the probability of single events. Okay. So, determine the probability that a staff member selected randomly is a male. So, just look there. There's male, but you must look at the total, or otherwise you must add that in between. So, the probability for a male will be 64 over 120. Now, this is the one topic where you do not have to simplify the fraction, but you can. So anything that will give you 8 over 18, doesn't matter. But I prefer, if it comes to probability, than to rather leave it unapproximated. Because especially if you work with two events and you work with dependent, then sometimes the students are so programmed to simplify the fractions that they simplify in between in the tree diagram, and then they make mistakes. So let's rather leave it like this. Okay, does not prefer visiting a neighboring country. Okay, so the probability first of neighboring countries, okay, is going to be, now there, you just have to add that 2 up. So the probability of that is going to be 41 over the 120. But now that's 41. Now the total, if you find the total amount of people, so if you look at the, okay, let's just see 120. So it's meaning that if you add up this 2, you will get 120 there. But what you can do is you can say not a neighboring, because does not prefer visiting. That's the probability for a neighboring country. Okay, but not a neighboring country will be a certainty minus the 41 over the 120, and that will be 79 over 120. So that's one way of doing it. The other way, I could have just add this to, or say 120 and subtract the 41, and then I would have also get this 79, and then put the 79 over the 120. Let's just go to the exam. Now, this is counting. This is just 1 mark for the final. And then this one, I will look at, say, for example, I think they will, if you came to the 41 and for the final, I can just say in the textbook that not, okay, not red, not yellow, not whatever. That you will find on page 6 to 9, and look at that example 3 for that word not. Okay, but let's first go now to the exam report. Okay, so here I think it's question number 15. So it's the next page, question 15. Okay, so this whole question was satisfactorily well answered. Some candidates, however, spoiled their answer due to incorrect rounding. Candidates should be encouraged to leave their answers as fractions rather than trying to give them as a decimal or a percentage. So do you see they didn't simplify the fraction? Okay, and there also, that's the final. But if you say 1 minus, or if you added that too, so not just for the 41, but the 1 minus for that step, you would have also get a mark. Okay, let's just go back to the question paper. Okay, so for that step, yes, there you would have get a mark. Okay, and now it's again probability, but it's good that I think the previous year they started the question paper with probability, and that's bad because probability is usually a little bit, especially if it comes to combined events, difficult for learners. Okay, but luckily this year they leave it towards the end, which I think is better. Okay, let's start with the next question. Question number 16. So in question number 16, a bag contains 15 marbles. 7 marbles are blue and the rest are red. If a marble is picked randomly, it will be never replaced. So it will not be put back. Okay, complete the tree diagram. Now, it's still in part 2 of the y equals mx plus c mathematics textbook. So probability. And this is without replacement. Okay, and it's a dependent event. And you will find this on page 647, example 15. There you will find it. Okay, now remember with the tree diagram, this branch will add up to 1. This branch will add up to 1. This branch will add up to 1. But if you work in a branch, you will multiply. If you want two branches, you will add. And at the end, if you take all 4 and you add it, after you multiply, you will get a certainty of 1. So it cannot get bigger than 1. Okay, but the best will be then to start here if you complete. Okay, because 7 over 15, so this one is going to be 8 over 15. So just say 1 minus 7 over 15. Now, if it's without replacement, that means there's not 15 balls anymore. There will only be 14, 14, 14. Now, for this one, I will assume it was a red one that they picked the first time. So there's one less red one. So how many red ones will there be? 7. Okay. And again, you can just, that's 7, or you can just, it must add up to 1. And for this one, you will assume, it was not a red one. It was a blue one. So there's now not just 7, it's going to be 1 less, and that's 6. And if you subtract them, then it's going to be 14 minus 6, and that is going to be 8. Okay, really practice that. It's not that difficult. And then I think they would have gave you a mark for this one, and then a mark for getting this 2 correct and this 2 correct. But let's continue before we go to the exam report. Okay, so if 2 marbles are picked randomly, find the probability that at least one is blue. Now, there's actually, it's like at least, the word at least means there can be one blue, one blue, or 2 blues. Did you see how many? So it's one blue, or 2 blues. So actually the only one that's left out is this one. And this is why I can use another method also. But let's first start with the longer method, I would say. So the probability at least one blue. Okay, so it's going to be this one. So it's going to, remember, in a tree we multiply. So it's going to be 8 over 15 multiply 7 over 14. Did you see what I did? Can I show you here? It's this one. And now I'm going to take this one, and then I'm going to take this one. So over the branches, what do? I add. So 7 over 15 plus 8 over 14 plus 7 over 15 multiply 6 over 14. Okay, so make sure that you have all three. Now, I like to use my ABC on my calculator. Most of the calculators have it today. So 8 ABC 15 multiply 7 ABC 14, and that's 4 over 15. Plus 7 ABC 15 multiply, don't know why this slipped in. Maybe I said multiply, but I wrote plus. It must be multiply in between. So 7 ABC 15 multiply 8 ABC 14. So it's 4 out of 15 plus 7 ABC 15 multiply 6 ABC 14. And that's 1 out of 5. So remember, in the bracket I multiply, but over the branches I add. And then if I add this up, I get 11 over 15. So I get 11 over 15. The other method you could have done, or please don't do both. I just wanted to show you. And I think I'm not going to do it on the question paper. I'm rather going to do it here. Because it's all three except the top one. So you could have said 1 minus the top one, 8 over 15 multiply 7 over 14. So that's the red. The rest is all in having a blue involved. And then it's 1 minus 4 over 15, which would have also give you 11 over 15. It doesn't matter which one you prefer. And then the next one, find the probability that 3 red marbles are picked randomly. Now, usually it's either the top or the bottom. So you will just extend that one. Okay. So if you extend that one, so remember it's without replacement. So there was 15. I'm going to put it in a red. So 15, 14. So this red one here, this red one will be over 13. But it was 8, 7, and then what was that one? That one was 6. So the probability of that, so the probability of red will be 8 over 15 multiply 7 over 14 multiply 6 over 13. And that will be 8 over 65. Don't forget to write it here, 8 over 65. Let's go to the examination report. Okay, so if I look here, as in the past, candidates continued to perform poorly in probability and statistics. These being the last topics in the syllabus, teachers should make sure to cover these topics on time and give necessary attention to them as in other topics. For this question, many candidates failed to realize that it was a without replacement question. Many did not reduce the total of the marbles for the next branch. They still kept the total as 15. So candidates should again be encouraged to leave their answer as common fractions rather than converting them to decimals or percentage, as they mostly end up spoiling their answers due to incorrect rounding. Okay, so there was the filling in spaces, and then it was the 11 over 15. And then, so for any 2 correct brackets, I think I gave that. And then, and then the last one was 8 over 65 if you multiply that 3. I just want to show you and go back to the question paper again. Okay, I didn't show you in this case, guys. So basically, in this case, they said, I think if you just came to this, let's just go to the report again. I just want to see where they gave that marks. Okay. So basically, So if you have this or this or this, any of one, just one. So for 2 correct brackets and 3 if you set 1 minus, or 3 correct brackets. Okay. And then this one is for the multiplying. This is 100%. Let's go back. I have it now where they gave you the marks. So basically they said if you just have, it's actually 1 for every bracket. Okay. And then the final. Okay. And then this one is also for the 3 and then the final one. I just want to show you, I don't think it's going to do here, but what I mentioned about approximation, say, and it's, I don't think it's going to work here, but say, for example, yes, say somebody was approximating this one to a half, and then you can see, then they will not be able to come to this third draw there. Do you see that? Because then they're working with a half. So especially in this tree diagram, do not approximate the fractions. Very important. Okay. And this is a nice feeling. We are at the last question of this question paper. It's a bit challenging ending, but it's fine. It's the end of the paper. So they must go a little bit more difficult. So let's just see. Sin theta is equal to 4/5, and the theta is between bigger 9360. So it's with the CAST diagram, leaving your answer in common fractions, find the value of tan theta. Okay, where will you find it? You will find it in part 2, trigonometry. And it will be trigonometry, ratios of angles. So ratio of angles between 90 and 360 degrees. And you will check there on page 460 and look at example 21. That's going to help you. Okay. So the first thing that we will do is we will draw a CAST diagram. Okay. Okay, I just want to use another color. Now, the CAST diagram is saying to you, okay, here's the word CAST. It's telling you where every function is positive. So if I look at this function and it's sin theta equals 4/5. So where is sin positive? Sin is positive in the quadrant 1 as well as in quadrant 2. But if I look at this, I see it's theta is only going from 90, there is 90, to 360. So it means this quadrant is blocked out. So although sin is positive there and sin is positive there, I'm only going to work with the one in the second quadrant. Are you with me? Now, don't forget your word sokatua. Okay, so what does sin stands for? Sin theta, if it's 4/5, then it's opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so if I'm working from here, this will be the opposite 4, and this will be the hypotenuse 5. Okay. So basically, I must now go and work out this one here. And how do I work out? I have a 90-degree angle there. So I do it with Pythagoras theorem. So I'm just going to say, okay, we can call it x, doesn't matter. So I'm going to say x squared is equal to 5 squared minus 4 squared, which is 24 minus 16, which is 9. And if I take the square root, don't forget plus minus, I get plus minus 3. Okay. But why is there a plus and a minus? Now look, there is 0. This is the positive. So that would have been plus 3, but this side would be negative 3. Do you see that? So that's the value of my x. It's going to be negative 3. Okay. Just want to The equal sign is not looking nice there. Okay, so x is equal to -3. Now, what is tan stand for? Because they want tan theta. Tan is going to be opposite over adjacent. Again, you stand here, so opposite over adjacent. So it's going to be 4 over -3. And you can write it as tan theta equals, you can put the negative in front, 4 over 3. Okay, and that's how you do it. Don't work out theta. They want to have the ratio. Then the next one. Now, don't forget you have tan, and there is your tan, and you have sin. And they just want you to calculate now the fraction. So, substitution. Put in tan. Put in sin. And then work it out. And then I get -8 over 3 plus 12 over 5. And that is going to be -4 over 15. And that's going to be my final answer. Let's go to the exam report. Okay, so this question, this trigonometry answer was very poorly answered. It seems that the objective about the CAST diagram was not taught at all in many centers. Many candidates seems not to know what to do. Some were seen dividing the domain or using the extremes of the domain and finding the tangent and sine of those angles, but incorrect. So, but what you got, if they saw until you come to plus minus, they already gave you 2 marks there. Do you see? So although you didn't get this, and then for this one after the substitution both, and it's a follow through. So even if that one is incorrect, you can still get that answer. So let's just go back to the question paper and let's just go and show you that marks. Okay. So basically, I'm just going to say, so for this calculation, it seems to me if you came to both, they already gave, and then putting it correctly. And then for this subset, this, and then for the final question. So really it's not a long, and it's just make sure that, are they asking the ratio? Here they ask the ratio, or otherwise they will say find the value of theta, then they are asking the angle. All these videos refer to the y equals mx plus c textbooks, the #1 mathematics textbook used in Namibian schools. For more information on these textbooks, visit the Straight Line Publishing website. All y equals mx plus c to success textbooks are available in the NEED catalogue of the Ministry of Education. Schools can order these using their yearly budget for textbooks, with the process typically starting mid-year. Make sure your learners have a copy of the y equals mx plus c mathematics textbook used by the top schools in Namibia in front of them in 2025. A final point. If you are in the position, I want to encourage you to buy your own personal copy of the y equals mx plus c mathematics textbook. These textbooks are available at the following bookshops. Remember, success in mathematics comes from hard work, perseverance, and the courage to face challenges head on. Good luck with your final 2024 examination.